What happened to Larry Gatlin at 77? You've never seen this before. The Grand Ole Opry stage is swallowed by darkness. No audience, no applause, no movement. Only a single silver microphone stands beneath a narrow beam of light. Worn, familiar, still holding the memory of thousands of nights. And then, a voice rises, high, clear, gentle, not loud, not chasing attention. A voice that feels like a memory calling back. That voice belongs to Larry Gatlin. At 77 years old, the man whose sound once filled arenas now stands at a different crossroads, one not defined by fame, but by reflection. And what happened to Larry Gatlin at 77 isn't a scandal, isn't a collapse, and isn't what anyone expected. It's something far more powerful. The voice that carried 3 lives for more than 50 years. The Gatlin brothers were inseparable from American country music. Larry, Steve, Rudy, 3 voices, 1 harmony. But among fans and critics alike, one truth was quietly understood. Larry Gatlin was the engine. Steve and Rudy were the foundation. Loyal, steady, unwavering. But Larry was the one who pushed forward. The songwriter, the lead voice, the face the spotlight always chose. And with that spotlight came pressure few ever saw. Behind the smooth harmonies and polished television appearances were nights Larry stood alone backstage, fighting exhaustion, expectation, and the weight of responsibility heavier than any Grammy he ever held. Back to Texas. Before the fame, before Nashville, before awards, before the Grand Ole Opry, there was Seminole, Texas. Larry Wayne Gatlin was born on May 2nd, 1948 into a modest working-class home overflowing not with money, but with music. The Gatlin house was never quiet, a mother humming hymns through the day, a father strumming an old guitar, 3 brothers blending voices long before they understood harmony. Church was their training ground, gospel was their first language. That 3-part harmony the world later fell in love with was born on a worn wooden church bench, and even then, Larry stood apart. The boy with the different voice. The boy with the different voice. Steve and Rudy had beautiful voices. Larry had light, a tenor so clear it made adults pause mid-conversation. A sound confident, controlled, and emotionally sharp, even as a child. But what truly separated Larry wasn't his voice. It was his hunger. A fire that refused to dim, even when no one was watching. A belief that talent meant nothing unless it was chased with courage. A willingness to dream beyond the limits of a small town. A heart brave enough to speak ambition out loud before life tried to silence it. On quiet Texas nights, Larry would stand in the yard staring at the stars and say, "One day I'm going to sing for the whole world." His mother smiled, unaware that this dream wasn't just Larry's. It belonged to all 3 brothers, and once spoken, there was no turning back. The hard road to Nashville. When Larry left Texas, he carried a suitcase, a guitar, and belief. Nashville, however, was ruthless. The late 1960s music industry didn't welcome newcomers. It tested them. Larry washed dishes, bus tables, sang background vocals for free. There were nights he recorded demos until 3 a.m., only to wake up and hear, "You're good, but not what we're looking for." Rejection became routine. By 1969, Larry began writing songs for other artists, quietly building credibility. Steve and Rudy slowly followed him, shaping the Gatlin sound behind the scenes. There were moments Larry wanted to quit, but then he remembered, if I stop, all 3 of us stop. The breakthrough that changed everything. One song finally got recorded. Not a smash hit, not instant fame, but enough. Studios began calling. Writers took notice. By the late 1970s, the Gatlin brothers exploded onto country radio. Every door that opened had once been closed. Every maybe came after years of silence. That small break proved a powerful truth. Progress doesn't need permission to grow. Momentum is born the moment you refuse to quit. And once belief replaces doubt, even quiet beginnings can shake an entire industry. Real facts and achievements. All the Gold in California. Number 1 on Billboard Hot Country Songs Grammy Award, 1976. Best Country Performance over 15 top 10 country hits, multiple ACM and CMA nominations. Decades-long presence at the Grand Ole Opry. They weren't just successful, they were defining the sound of an era, the price of being the face. On stage, Larry stood center, spotlight fixed, crowds roaring, but success sharpened the pressure. Every note mattered more. Every flaw felt larger. By the early 1980s, relentless touring took its toll. Larry's voice, the heart of everything, began to falter. Some nights he sang through searing pain, collapsing backstage afterward. Fans didn't know. The media didn't know. Only Steve and Rudy saw the cost. The quiet man behind the spotlight off stage, Larry Gatlin was different. Quiet, introspective, deeply guided by faith. He believed something rare in show business. Music is a gift, not a throne. He left shows early to be with family, turned down moments others would chase. Critics misunderstood. Larry didn't care. Late at night, alone with his guitar, he asked himself, if one day no one claps, will I still sing? The internal storm, pressure doesn't always arrive loudly. Sometimes it creeps in, unnoticed, unanswered, relentless. Larry later admitted to anxiety and emotional exhaustion. Not scandal, not collapse, but a quiet war no one applauds. One night, alone in a dressing room, he stared into the mirror. He didn't see a country star. He saw a man holding up a legacy with shaking hands. A man carrying the full weight of his family's dream, and feeling it crack his chest from the inside. Breathing became heavy. The applause outside felt distant, unreal, and in that silence, one truth became unavoidable. That moment forced a choice: burn out or change. What happened to Larry Gatlin at 77? At 77, Larry Gatlin no longer chases charts. By choice, not decline. He performs selectively, often in intimate venues rather than long tours. He remains a respected member of the Grand Ole Opry, appearing for special events and legacy performances. His focus has shifted from commercial success to storytelling, faith, and reflection. Gatlin regularly appears on podcasts, radio shows, and interviews, speaking openly about anxiety, burnout, and personal growth. His voice has aged, but it hasn't faded. It has matured, trading power for presence. He continues writing, including books and essays centered on faith, resilience, and forgiveness. Away from the stage, he prioritizes family life and quiet routines. There is no urgency left in him, no need to prove relevance or reclaim spotlight, just peace earned through decades of creation, loss, endurance, and truth. A legacy that outlives fame. Larry Gatlin's legacy isn't just awards. It's harmony, a sound studied by younger artists, a blueprint for family groups, a reminder that success doesn't have to destroy you. Young musicians still learn from the Gatlin brothers' precision, and Larry smiles at that, because legacy isn't volume, it's echo. Final moment, the line that says it all. Larry once said, "The most beautiful thing in my life wasn't standing before thousands. It was knowing I never stood there alone." That is what happened to Larry Gatlin at 77. Not a fall, not a tragedy, a landing. Did Larry Gatlin's music shape your childhood? Which Gatlin Brothers song still gives you chills? Comment below and like if this story moved you, and also subscribe for more untold music legends, because music never truly ends, it just finds a new heart.